beware. Beware. This is a warning. The Grim Reaper of radio, Bob Romanik, with his off-the-record show is about to air. He's probably the nastiest and craziest son of a bitch that you've ever had the misfortune to encounter. The Grim Reaper show will be very controversial and probably quite tasteless. If you are even slightly offended by controversial matter concerning religion, racial matters, politics, or life's problems, you are hereby warned to turn this program off immediately. The Grim Reaper show will be, like his face, very scary and very ugly. At this time, not proudly, but shamefully presents to you Bob Romanik, the craziest son of a bitch on the radio today.
This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ. 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio. And we are, as always, proud to be the Patriot. Hey, good Tuesday morning. I want to say I appreciate everything everybody's done this last week. I can't really get through it, but I'll be able to address it. But don't think I forgot about all you thousands and thousands of people. But, I'm going to get through this, and we've all had trying times. I'm going to get through this by thinking about these rotten bastards that have screwed our lives up, my lives, my son's lives, our family's lives, your family lives. That's going to get me through this. It's going to be the love for my son and the hatred for these no-count son of a bitches. And it's serious, people. We're sitting there. Some people aren't eating. Your taxes are going sky high. You don't have to like me. Don't like me at all. Hate me. But listen to me, because it's never going to get any better. I talk with people every day. This St. Clair County Freedom Coalition, it's not a political movement. It's a patriotic movement. We're like the militia. Whenever the English came and tried to fight the people that finally became Americans, we were all of different origins. We were all of different thoughts. Everybody didn't think alike. But when the war started, we all come together. They formed these militias and they fought the enemy. Then after they won the fight, they all went back to doing what they were doing. We have to be the same way. We've talked with a lot of Republican leaders. They're not on the total same page that we're on. And I'm glad, because this is America. We don't always have to agree on everything to be friends. I talked to a lady today. I put some information out last week on the radio, and she said, Bob, please don't use my name. I said, well, okay, but, you're doing a great cause. Why wouldn't you want your name out there? Because I know all the politicians listen, and I like you, and I like the show, and I like what you're doing, but I can't let them know. And I thought, what do you mean you can't let them know? And then I apologized to this lady, because I was the stupid son of a bitch making that statement. I know exactly why she can't express her opinion, that she can't be friends and associate with who she wants to associate with, because we live in terror in St. Clair County. You hear me, people? And don't think I'm being melodramatic, because I'm not. It's terror. They've terrorized us. The hell with Al-Qaeda. The hell with ISIS. We don't need those son of a bitches around. We've been terrorized for the last 20, 30, 40 years by the St. Clair County Democratic Central Committee, the culture of corruption. And you think I'm lying? You're crazier than I am. You people have witnessed it. How can a man, and I know they do it, but a man, he can't support his family a lot of times in St. Clair County unless you kiss somebody's ass. And why would a man want someone else to kiss their ass to get a job? And the point I just made, those bastards in St. Clair County, they're not men. They're rotten, no-count, jerk-off bastards. Every one of them. You hear me? Strong, Kern, Sprague, Barra Civic, Eckert, you hear me? You no-count, lousy, loud, no good for nothing, rotten bastard son of a bitches. And people, if you don't like what I'm saying and how I say it, turn the damn radio off because I don't care. And if you think I'm lying, once again, you're crazier than I am. I want you to have a voice. I've got my voice. I want everyone to have their voice. When I sit there and I call these son of a bitches and I say, I'll give you $10,000 to come on and talk to the people of St. Clair County, the people that pay your salary, your bosses. And these son of a bitches refuse. They're not just insulting me as a taxpayer. They're insulting every one of you, and you know it. People, it's time for a change. Don't want a political change. We want a civic change. We don't want politicians in these offices. We want public service. Public servants who will work for everybody. You have to play politics, people, to get elected. That's just part of life. But once you're elected, you're not a politician any longer. You're a public servant. I'm running for state rep. I don't give a damn if somebody comes up to me if I'm elected and says, Bob, I hate your guts. I think you're no good son of a bitch, and I voted against you. But there's a problem in our district to help the people, and I want it fixed. You know what I would say? I would shake the man's hand, number one, because he'd be so honest. But I would go out there and do what's needed to be done, not for my personal advantage, but for the advantage of the taxpayers, the constituents, the people that would pay my salary. And the people in St. Clair County, they're not the elite people. They're more like the bums. And if I get elected, I'll be somewhat of a bum. I have to have you people to pay me some money to do a job. But I will tell you one thing, and I've said this before. Don't give a damn if I win or lose. Well, I sort of like to win, hell. But I'm not a quitter, which means I'm not a loser. The only losers, people, are the ones that are going to sit on their ass election day. The vast majority who say, my vote doesn't count. And I tell you, every vote counts. But that's what these bastards, and you've heard me before, that's what they've done. They've made us so apathetic, nobody, the good people all throughout the county, they don't want to come out and vote. I hope you guys are energized this election. I've talked with a lot of Democrats. Bob, we're going to cross over. They've listened to me. They've researched. And they finally realized in a county election and a municipal election, that R behind your name, that D behind your name, doesn't mean a damn thing. But people, wise up. And don't have to like me, don't have to vote for me. But get behind something that you feel about. Get behind something that's in your heart, that's in your gut. Don't ever in your life again let these son of a bitches walk all over you. I learned my lesson years back, and I've been beat down. I've been beat up. But I'll tell you, until I take my last breath, these son of a bitches got a problem with Bob Romanik. And I'm going to put every bastard up there in the county on notice that Bob Romanik's here to stay. And I think there's a lot of other people that think like I do. I know they don't have the airways. Hell, if some of you people had the airways, you'd be crazier than me. I've talked to you out on the street. I'd say, hey, stay away from the radio station. Guys, you'll make me look bad. There's people that think like I do, or I think like they. But they just can't express it. Their relatives got a job. You can't be an American in St. Clair County, Illinois. You can't express your opinion in St. Clair County, Illinois. You can't speak and live free in St. Clair County, Illinois. And I'm sure there's other counties all throughout this great state and our great country. We're not living free, people. It's amazing, the intimidation that goes on. People, we're going to stop it. And I just hope everybody understands about the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition, because all we're out to do, and I'm a proud member. I've told you before, I don't represent the St. Clair County Freedom Coalition. I'm an American. You know, I can say what I want when I want. And somebody say, well, I'm not going to be for the St. Clair County Coalition because of that ignorant son of a bitch, Bob Romanik. then I'd have to say I'm the second most ignorant son of a bitch. He's the most ignorant because it's not about Bob Romanik. It's about America. It's about speaking up. It's about when you're tired of something that you can rally against it. And that's what needs to be done here in St. Clair County. Let's do a little bit of our housekeeping. I've got a beautiful lady with me today, Diane Rogie. There's been some articles in the paper. This lady lives on 20th Street behind the, across the street. I'm on West A Street. And there's a problem with Lindenwood College. And I talked to her off the air, and we're going to speak with her. She says, Bob, I love Lindenwood. I love what it's doing. But there's some housing problems that are not only a safety issue for the residents that live there all the time, a safety issue for the students. And I don't know what's going on, but she's going to explain it. And I think after she does, you people understand that even though it's a university, even though it's helping build that end of Belleville, there's laws, there's regulations, there's ordinances. There's safety factors that have to be factored in. You can't just, hey, these guys are good guys, so we're going to let them just do what they have to do. That's what happened in St. Clair County many years ago with the corrupt democratic culture of corruption. And it just spirals and spirals, and at some point it has to be stopped, and it's better to stop a train before it gets a full head of steam. And I think that's what Diane Rogie is attempting to do, not for her, but for her community. And I applaud her for that, and we'll get with her momentarily. You're invited to attend the third annual Pet Adopt-a-thon, Sunday, September the 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. at Silver Creek Saloon, located at 2520 Mascoutah Avenue in Belleville. It's hosted by St. Clair County Dr. Tom Amlug, the Adoption Center in the Belleville Animal Clinic. It's going to be a great cause. They're going to take that money and buy treats, buy food for all the I'll call them residents of the Humane Society. So that's going to be and we'll be out there because we love animals. Sometimes don't like people, but we always love animals. You cannot love an animal. So you're invited to the third annual Pet Adopt-a-thon, Sunday, September the 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Silver Creek Saloon, 2520 Mascoutah Avenue in Belleville. American Legion, Belleville Post, 1937, their meat shoot this Sunday, September the 27th at noon at TR's Place, 4901 Concordia Church Road in Belleville. Any information needed, you can contact Commander Jim Farbus at 618-409-1212. Also, American Legion Post 1255 on Eiler Road. Our good buddies out there on Eiler Road. A huge flea market, Saturday, September the 26th at 201 Eiler Road. Opens at 8 a.m. Food and drinks available. It's going to be a great, tremendous, huge flea market. If you want a space, they're still available. You can call 538-5445. That's 538-5445 to participate in this gigantic, enormous flea market. Trivia night, September the 26th, Saturday. Doors open at 6 p.m. Game start at 7. It's for the Franklin Lodge, number 25 AFAM in Alton, Illinois. The Masonic Lodge, 6 to 8 person teams. If you have any questions or concerns, you can call the Franklin Lodge. I don't have their number, but you can get a hold of the Franklin Lodge located at 1513 Washington Avenue in Alton. Hog Pit Barbecue Barn. Live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're having their rat rod and raw bike build-off. That's September the 26th. Starts at 9 a.m. There's going to be $3,000 worth of blue-collar build-offs. Best award-winning. Hell, they've got everything going on here. Let me try to read a little bit of it. It's a destination location for motorcycle enthusiasts, but they're going to have, and whatever the hell that is, the rat rod and raw bike build-off. Anybody knows what that is, please give me a call so we can explain it. But that's going to be at the great food at the Hog Pit Barbecue Barn in the great little village of Grafton, Illinois. The first meat shoot of the season, September the 27th. For the American Legion Post, again, 1255, located at 201 Eiler Road in Belleville. Sponsored by the Sons of the American Legion. Going to be food raffles It starts at noon. That's Sunday, September the 27th. And guys, I would sit here all day if we can help these fraternal groups out, these religious groups out, any of these organizational groups, because that's what we're here for. I mean, we want to give the underbelly of politics and what's going on, but we also, our main objective is to be there for the people of this area. And again, we'll try to get to all of them. If not, we'll do them every other day, but keep sending them in because I will take the time, I promise you. St. Wenceslaus Parish, located at 3014 Oregon Avenue, having their annual tailgate party. Hours between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. If you want to get involved, you can contact Tim at 314-814-0486. Polish American War Vets Dance, Saturday, September the 26th from 2 to 6 p.m. Music by Pull Toys, a 1970s rock and roll band. It'll be underneath their pavilion. Tickets are $5. Any questions or concerns, you can contact 618-398-5040. The 5th annual Shapiro Steel Fest, located at 5617 Natural Bridge in St. Louis, Sunday, September the 27th, starts at 9 a.m., ends at 5. Rat Rod Magazine and Raw Bike Magazine present the official build-off finale, food, drinks, and entertainment. That's going to be Sunday, September the 27th. Don't forget, you can pick me up on iTunes. Type in Bob Romanik and or the Grim Reaper of Radio. You can go to our streaming site at insanebroadcasting.com. One word, common spelling. Please like us on Facebook at KQQZ 1190 AM or our sister station for the best of the 50s and 60s, the best in the golden oldies at KZQZ 1430 AM. You can hear our my repeat performance every day at 4 o'clock p.m. and also now broadcasting from the graveyard to the graveyard shift every night, Monday through Friday at the stroke of midnight. On this date, now there's 3 dates here, and they're coincidental. September the 22nd, 1692, September the 22nd, 1776, and September the 22nd, 1780. 3 lynchings, one of William Lynch, that's who the lynchings was named after. The other one, Captain Nathaniel Hale. And on September the 22nd, 1692, the last 8 witches were hanged in Salem, Massachusetts. So, hell, that's a good hanging day, September the 22nd, so I better watch out. I don't want to get to the courthouse because they're probably ready to hang me. On this date, September the 22nd, 1893, the first auto built in the United States was built by Duran Brothers way back. The first automobile built, think about it, people, September the 22nd, 1893. Good one for me because I love it. September the 22nd, 1903, a patent was granted to Italo Marciano for the ice cream cone. You know what? I got a experience with I thought it was an ice cream cone. They put it upside down on my head and stuck me in the corner. My teachers did. And I said, what the hell's going on? I didn't know it meant I was a dunce. I ought to be still wearing one, but my head got too big. On this date, September the 22nd, 1927. Now, this comes from a service that it's real. These are all documented. On this date, September the 22nd, 1927, a fan watching the famous Jack Dempsey, Gene Tooney fight got so excited, he accidentally stabbed himself to death with an ice pick. Hey, Sprague, Kern, Eckert, Bear Civic, I got tickets to the next boxing match. Maybe you bastards will stab yourself to death. Political death, that is. On this date, September the 22nd, 1951, a Stockholm court fined a sailor for kissing a girl in public. I don't think Kern and Sprague have to worry about that. Yeah. On this date, September the 22nd, 1973, Henry Kissinger was sworn in as America's first Jewish Secretary of State and the first naturalized citizen to hold that office. On this date, September the 22nd, 1975, Sarah Jane Moore attempted to shoot President Ford outside a San Francisco hotel. On this date, last but not least, I didn't even want to go there. That's what happened on this date, September the 22nd, throughout all these years in our world's history. I got a text from a very, very smart gentleman And I don't know what this really means, and I'd forgot about it. And this is, I guess, alleged at this time. I'll say alleged because I don't really know, and maybe I do, but the last 7-8 months of my life have been a little in worse la-la land than I'm usually in. It says, don't forget, Charlotte Moore goes in front of a grand jury today. Now, I wonder if somebody knows, let me know. Charlotte Moore, and this is alleged, I don't know, but I just got a text that, don't forget, Charlotte Moore goes in front of a grand jury today. So I think there's going to be a lot of political people go before these grand juries. I know there's a lot of secret. You know they're in trouble when nobody hears about what they've done, because the federal agencies and a lot of the state agencies, they're so discreet. They don't want to say anything. And when they say no comment, I know there's something going on. So people just stay tuned, because it's not going to get better for these rotten bastards. I want to apologize for Chad out at the great Kaskaskia River House. They invited me out last week. They had a drag race, and I was fighting to keep my son alive, so I couldn't make it out there. But Chad, thank you very much. Tom Scott, thank you again. Carrie Holsted, thank you. Connor Keeley, you know, guys, all these emails, it's really humbling of the people that have acknowledged my bad situation. The Gambler, thank you, and I'll get into this. Like I say, Kent Pettit, thank you very much. You know, we all have problems. I'm not going to use my radio station as a bully pulpit, but I do want to say that I sincerely, Jim B from Shiloh, thank you. I mean, it's thank you, and I'm gonna take about a half hour one day and clean this situation up. But I know everybody out there has misfortunes, and it's rough on everybody. And this is not the place to really discuss it. But at some point, I will have to acknowledge the great people out there, the humbling experience I've had over the last 8-9 months. But let's don't take care of it right now. I'm not ready. We're going to have Diane Rogie. She's going to be with us right after the break. We're going to talk about Lindenwood, the great university that's bringing a few problems that hopefully the city of Belleville will work out. We'll be back with Diana Rogie right after this break. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ, 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio. And we are, as always, proud to be the Patriot.
From KQQZ 1190 AM, St. Louis, Missouri, USA, you're listening to Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of radio.
This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom. Your guardian of the First Amendment, radical radio. And we are, as always, very proud to be the Patriot. Before we get to Diane here, they've told me that Edward F., I guess it's Vowell, Vowell, he's attempting to make a possible run for Congress on the Democratic side. If you go to Edward, common spelling, middle initial F, Vowell for Congress, you can Google him and get all the information. Now, I'm not endorsing him. I'm giving you people the information. Now, it's not like having blowjob bearicific in Congress, but, you know what BJ stands for, and maybe he'll be good at that, whatever it stands for. I don't know. But I know that this Edward Vowell, and Ed, if you're listening, and I know you probably are your friends, have him give me a call. I'd like to interview Ed. He's a Iraqi veteran, a war vet, supposed to be a hell of a nice guy. But you know what he's not? He's not related to John Barasivic. John read on the noodle like a pecker on a poodle, Barasivic. So that's actually good. Good for the majority of people. But Ed Volwell, I believe, is making a bid for Congress. People go to Edward F. Volwell for Congress. Google that. Get some information. This gentleman, I think, would make a heck of a congressman. I think Mike Bost, our congressman, has done a good job. But we always need opposition. That keeps, if you don't train before a fight, you're going to lose a fight. So you got to train. And that's what these elections are, training these guys to make sure that they do good for all of us so they can keep the positions they're in. With me, a beautiful lady, a fighting lady. She actually said, Bob, this perturbs me, and I don't want to say something that I shouldn't say on the radio, but we've got a kill switch, and occasionally it's used, and I don't think it'll happen this time. But Diane Rogie, she lives around the Lindenwood school area, and I've read her name in the paper several times, and she's sort of a political activist only because I spoke with her off the air, and you'll hear her. She loves her neighborhood. She's lived in her neighborhood, and she loves Lindenwood. But when they start doing things that aren't right, they start shoving 12, 15 people in a house that's good for 3 or 4, and they don't live by the rules, then something has to be done before it gets out of hand, and that's what Diane Rogie's trying to do. And Diane, I salute you because you're taking the time. You're not getting any money for this. You're worried about you and your community, the quality of life in your community.
Absolutely. And just so we're clear, on behalf of myself and the other residents in these single-family neighborhoods, we are not against Lindenwood. We think it's great that they're there. It's a great opportunity for the city of Belleville, but you can't let them come in and not have regulations. It just will not work. And these have become safety issues. We're worried about not only our safety, but the safety of these students. In 2012, the city of Belleville redid the zoning ordinance, and they've written it specifically for Lindenwood. They have a whole new definition. It's called a student dwelling, which means that they can take a single-family residence and turn it into a student dwelling, and it allows them to put more than 3, but less than 16 students in a single house. So in our block, the 2000 block of West A Street, we currently have 32 students in that one block. And when they finish filling the other 2 houses, we will have 52 students in one block.
Okay, but how many, do you know with the breakdown about the number of occupants in each house?
The ones that have already been occupied, they have, because I pulled the occupancy permits, I FOIA'd them. We have 6, 8, 7, and the other 2 still have to be occupied. And one of those is a 5-bedroom house. So if they stick to their current standard that they've been using, there's 2 in a bedroom, and they're using the dining rooms as a bedroom. So, that's 12 people in that one 5-bedroom house.
Yeah.
And then they have one more house that is standard 2-bedroom, but it has a room that's added on, so that will become a bedroom, obviously. So that's another 7 kids in that house, so just because it's identical to the house they've already put 7 in.
I would ask, and I don't have a dog in the fight, but I've been following your plight and the plight of the people in the area of Lindenwood. Why would Linden, and this is just me a rhetorical question, not to you but to everybody, why would Lindenwood, a great university, why would they subject their students to possible safety violations if there's a fire, heaven forbid, if there's something goes wrong? And even more than that, how can the city turn their head? Because, and I hope it never happens, and I mean this sincerely, but if there's a fire, one of those kids are trapped in there. They tell me there's kids living in basements where there's no ingress or egress other than the one way in and out. If there's happens to be a fire there, what are they going to do?
Well, and if it, sadly enough, that if they're not going to do anything now, that's what it'll take for them to open their eyes, and that we
don't need that.
No, that's why we're bringing this forward. That's why we are being so persistent on trying to get the word out about what's going on there. And the problem, the biggest issue that we're having is these are single-family residential neighborhoods. We already have ordinances in place, and the ordinance says you cannot have more than 3 unrelated adults in a house. the city of St. Charles, which, Lindenwood started over there in 1827, they are a growing and thriving university, but they have always maintained that they cannot put more than 3 unrelated students in a house over there. They also inspect them every year. It's an annual inspection, happens during the summer when the kids are out. So, but in the city of Belleville, we have exempted Lindenwood University from the crime-free housing, so there are no inspections for that. They do a occupancy inspection before Lindenwood takes over, and then our people are out of the picture.
Yeah, I've read before, even before this situation, how they were going to have the housing police come out, but I think it's discriminatory to all residents, black and white, men and women, whenever they have one set of rules for the regular citizens, the people that actually pay taxes, the people that actually support this town, and another set of rules for a university. And again, I have nothing against. I think Lindenwood University is a great university. I think they've helped improve the neighborhood. But, and this is my words, you can't come in like a bully just because you got a little bit more money, just because you're doing a little bit more than somebody else. Everybody needs to be treated equal, Diane. And I think you want them treated equal, and you want the laws followed. That's all you want, right?
Absolutely. Once they change this variance, it's only for the select homes. So although my house is right next to, it's actually between 2 of those homes, I could never put more than 3 people in my house. If I chose to rent it out to students, I can only put 3 of them in there because this is a special variance only for Lindenwood. So, I mean, the other issue that a lot of people aren't realizing is that these homes on our block, the 7 homes that were bought by Lindenwood, the people selling these homes are leaving town. They're not staying in Belleville. They are getting out. Of the 5 homes, I actually know that the people have gone at one of the locations. They went to Shiloh. The other one went to Collinsville, O'Fallon, Illinois, Florida, and Mascoutah. And 2 of them went to assisted living, so I can't fault them for that. They're leaving town. Their people are tired of putting. I mean, this is we're losing the tax dollars. All of these homes come off of the tax roll. Lindenwood is a nonprofit, and by some statute they've found. So the people left paying taxes. Our tax base just went down. So the taxes are going to have to go up for the people who are paying taxes, and it's not fair. At least they should have to be contributing in some way. We already given them $150,000 a year just to be here.
You know what they're going to do, Diane? I just had this thought. If they don't follow the law for everybody, it's going to be discriminatory for most of the people. I think you're going to see the city in all kind of lawsuits because I think, I don't know, I don't have any rental property, but I think these people that have rental properties, I think they're going to get up in arms and say, hey, if it can be done for the college, we want special ordinances, and it's going to be like East St. Louis. They don't live 30 people out of a 1-bedroom house. They vote 30 people out, but that's what's going to happen here. And again, we talked off the air, and you were emphatic that you don't want to hurt Lindenwood. You love the university. You love what it's doing. You love to have the kids get a proper education. But damn, there's got to be a right way and a wrong way. And I think not only Lindenwood, but even more than Lindenwood, I think Mark Eckert, the leader, and he is the leader of Belleville. You got to look at the term leader, put a P to it, and maybe that's what he is. I don't know. But he should take the bull by the horns and tell Lindenwood, we don't need all this. You're going to have to follow the law. You're going to have to follow the rules. And this great university with the learned people, they know in this society that we have rules to follow, so let's just all follow them.
Well, St. Charles has been doing this for much longer, and the Lindenwood Belleville, if we tell them you have to follow the same guidelines, they are not going to pick up their toys and go home. They're here to stay, and all we're asking is to be treated fairly. And the 3 unrelated adults in a house, that is not going to stop them from growing. And build another dorm if that's what you need, more space. If you've outgrown, don't go into the local neighborhoods and buy up. It's not, if you bought the entire neighborhood, that would be one thing. You buy every other house, and so you drive out the people. I mean, if I chose to sell my house now, who's going to want to live in Frat Row? Yeah. I mean, 1 block, 52 students. Come on. That's just, it's not safe. And and not to say that these are bad kids, but students commit crimes too, and we've had our issues with that, and there's things that are going on that sometimes don't make the paper. But I think that as a whole, the kids are good kids. We talked to a lot of them. It's not the kids' fault. They're going where they're told to go. Lindenwood says, you live in this house with these 8 people, and that's where they go. They're on scholarships. But this is a moneymaker for Lindenwood, too. And they talked about how much money they put into these homes. They said, they had a spokesman, which we had never seen. We had a couple meetings, and he's never been there. But he said they put between $10,000 and $30,000 into these homes after they purchased them. Well, you know what? In the 8 years I've lived in my home, I've spent almost $20,000 just in taxes, which they will never have to do.
Right.
I've also put, we put nice windows in the house. We've changed a lot of things. I've spent well over $30,000 in improvements on my house, not to mention the blood, sweat, and tears. To me, this is my home. This is not a business venture where I'm going to shove, up to 16 kids in and charge them $400 a month. This is my home. I'm going to live here. And so I put a lot of work into it that they'll never, ever do into these homes.
Hey, Mark Maximus Vaginus Eckert, and you don't have to be a learned scholar to know what that means. Give us a call, Mark. You're the mayor of Belleville. Why don't you call? Not call and talk to me, because I don't really want to talk to you. I want you to talk to the people of Belleville. What's your take on this? I know there's going to be a vote. Diane, when's the vote coming up on this issue about this ordinance change?
There is a hearing with the zoning board on this coming Thursday, but the vote, which is actually made by the city council, there are, the council members get to make this decision, and that vote is going to be on October the 5th. So if people listening have any viewpoints, call, write your alderman, tell them how you feel about this, because they ultimately will make this decision as to whether our neighborhoods, the sheer fabric of our neighborhoods is destroyed.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem, and I brought it up a few minutes ago. They don't live around the college. But if I lived on the east end of town and the elected officials of Belleville let Lindenwood College get away with it, I'm getting me an attorney, and I'm filing a discrimination suit, because if they can do it, I can do it. So if they let Lindenwood do it, you're going to open up a whole can of worms, and there's going to be 8-10 people living in these 1-2-bedroom houses that Belleville tried to stop, but this is just going to put them back tremendously.
Just so you know, this ordinance is written as it's stated for any college or university. So SWIC is just as likely to do this same thing. So the people who live on the east end of town, you're not exempt from this. It can happen there too. This ordinance is not just Lindenwood. It can be any college. I guess if we have any other colleges coming to town, they would all get the same treatment. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Diane, and you say ordinance. There was an ordinance I ran for coroner a long time back, and they said I couldn't put a political sign in a yard except 30 days before election. We took them to federal court and beat them. We can put a political sign up anytime, because this is America. And I make that analogy to the point that just because the city passes ordinance, I would bet you that probably 40% of the ordinances, maybe even more, that these cities pass are unconstitutional. Just the people won't take the time and the effort. But I think a situation like this, it's going to get out of hand if the Belleville elected officials don't see what's going on and don't rectify this wrong. I think they're going to open up a can of worms. I think it's going to cost the city of Belleville a lot of money, and it's not going to be pretty at the end of the day.
And God forbid there be any kind of a situation. 2012, the 2 girls in Edwardsville that burned up in the apartment because she left her laptop laying on the bed. And, we don't need to have that to see where the problem is here. I can't imagine any house that could hold 16 non-related adults and not have issues. And, some people are saying, well, some of these houses have 4 and 5 bedrooms. That's fine. But the ordinance is very clear for single-family residential homes, 3 unrelated adults. Now, I have 7 boys next to me, and I did mention to them if they would like to all get married, that solves the problem for them.
Well, we can do that in Illinois, yeah.
But until then, 3 unrelated adults. That would solve a lot of the other issues that people are having with the traffic and the parties and the trash. All those things are curbed when you only put 3 adults in these homes, and that's plenty and we will be perfectly happy if they follow the same guidelines that we have to follow.
Diane, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to give you the last word. What do you have to say to the people of Belleville, the people of your area, and the people of Lindenwood College?
Well, for the people in the neighborhoods and those of that are going through this and could possibly be going through it soon, because Lindenwood is going to continue to grow and continue to buy homes, you need to curb this now. Call your alderman, write them, whatever you have to do. Those people are making this decision on the 5th of October, and they need to know how you feel. I don't want them to come back and say, I didn't hear from anybody. Call them, write them, whatever you can do. And as far as Lindenwood, all we're asking is to be treated fairly. You're a big corporate college. You're treating us like we're second-class citizens. You're treating this city like it's a second-class city. St. Charles didn't have to do this. They're just fine. You need to do the same thing.
Diane Rogie, thank you very much. And people, seriously, let's stop a tragedy before it affects you. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of Radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio. And we are, as always, proud, very proud to be the Patriot.
From KQQZ 1190 AM, St. Louis, Missouri, USA, you're listening to Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of Radio.
This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of Radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom. Radical radio at its finest, and we are, as always, proud, very proud to be the Patriot. You know, we've got a few minutes left, Diane Rogie, and it's a situation that most people in Belleville aren't facing. But if it happens there, it's going to expand, and I just think it's a bad situation. I hope the Belleville alderman and the mayor understand the complexity of this situation and the ramifications down the road, and do something to stop it. Got a few minutes, and I just want to dwell here real quick. Talk about term limits. I was thinking this morning, people promise they'll get elected a term or two, and then they'll take off and leave, give somebody else the opportunity, but then they run again and again and again. I think if somebody tells you they're going to do something, they should have to sign some kind of sworn affidavit. If I say, hey, I'm Bob Romanik, if I'm elected state representative, I'll run for 2 terms. If I can't get something done in 4 years, then it's time for somebody else. And if I do get something done in 4 years, it's time for somebody else to come in and get something done. This is not a lifetime opportunity. George Washington didn't do it. Abraham Lincoln didn't do it. And we shouldn't have politicians for 30, 40 years, people. We should have public servants who want to come in, get their ideas across, make the changes they can make, and move out. So I would say, for these guys that are especially running on term limits, I'm only going to run 1 term or 2 terms, I think they ought to be made obligated to sign an affidavit, a sworn affidavit, that I, Bob Romanik, will not serve more than 2 terms. Because if I tell you that, then I run on and on. I've defrauded you people. These politicians have defrauded you people. They have told you one thing, they have presented one thing, what they're going to do and what you're voting for, and then when they get in office, they do something just the opposite. I think there should be commitment. Well, I've had commitment papers, and I should be committed, but there should be commitment papers, not just a loyalty oath for politicians, but if they tell you they're going to do something, they need to do it. And what I'll tell you, if I run, and I am running for state representative, I get elected, again, don't let somebody promise you. I see Eddie Jackson now. He's going crazy because he knows I'm running against him. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get that done. The man's a damn liar. He can't get anything done. He can only get done what the people, the other political people in the state of Illinois will let get done. So don't listen to that verbiage, that bull crap. What I'm going to do is shake up the establishment. That's what needs to be done. You know, you heard me yesterday. They said you sound like Donald Trump. No, Donald Trump sounds like Bob Romanik. I've been shaking up the establishment for the last 5 years, and I'm going to continue. I'm not like Donald Trump. I don't have as much money. I'm not as purdy as Donald Trump. I got the same kind of har that he does, that funny har, but that's okay. And I'm not perfect like Donald Trump. But I'll tell you what, I will fight for the people of the 114th District. No, I take that back. I'll fight for everybody in the state of Illinois because I'll have a bigger voice than I have now. And that's what we need in office. We need to get rid of these bastards, these career politicians, the Kerns, the Spriggs. You know Kern did this, did that, become mayor, a county board chairman. He wants to move on. He wanted to be a congressman, but he knew he couldn't win. They had an exploratory committee for Mark Sweet Cakes Kern. They come back and said, Kern, you need 51% of the vote to win. You'll get about 23%. Don't even win in his precinct. These guys have to go, people, and you have to remember, you are the voices. You are the bosses. You are the people that pay their salaries. Don't elect them to office and then not hold them accountable. If you had a business, you would hold your employees accountable or you'd get rid of them. And that's what we have to do here in St. Clair County. We've tried to hold our politicians accountable, but they've never been. And the good people, one after one, they die off. Not naturally, politically. I'm not going to vote this time. Does no good. I'm not going to waste my time. Does no good. People, in 2016, this St. Clair County Freedom Coalition movement is all over the county. It's expanding to Monroe County and Madison County. It's a movement, a patriotic movement, people. We don't want you to vote for the party. We want you to vote for the person. And if you actually feel that there's somebody on this other side that's qualified, then give them a vote. But I have to tell you, if you research it, everybody that's been in office has been Democrats in St. Clair County, and nothing's changed. Oh, I'm sorry. It has changed, but not for the good. So let's don't worry about that D behind your name, that R behind your name, that I. And I'd say, and I'm not a perfect person. What I've done in the past, I've done. I've made amends. 16 years, I've fought for the people. And don't just look what somebody's done in the past. Believe in what they're going to do in the future because, you know, the past is the past. We have to move forward. So let's all move forward. But the biggest thing I would ask you, I would like to have your vote. I would like the Freedom Coalition, the people that they support, have your vote. They're going to be Democrats, Republicans, men, women, black, white. But more so than that, I would ask you to engage in this 2016 election. And somebody said, Bob, you may get more Democrats out for the culture of corruption. And I said, no, I don't think so. I think the true Democrats that have the democratic philosophy, the democratic mentality, they know that these Democrats that run this county and ruin this county are not true Democrats. They're not true Democrats. They're Democrats in disguise. They've taken the Democratic Party and tore it up. So when something's not good anymore, when it's spoiled, you throw it out and you start again. And that's what we hope happens in 2016. Let's fight the fight, people. They're not going to fight for us. We have to fight for each other. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of radio. And you've been listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio. And as always, we're proud, very, very proud to be the Patriot. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to continue the fight wherever it'll take us. We'll take Madison County, St. Clair County, any of these counties. We're going to start back taking calls because we are America's voice of freedom. We are the Patriot. And more so than that, I'm getting tired of hearing myself talk. I'm giving myself a headache. But people, remember, and I'm serious when I say this, this is a great country. It was founded on great principles. Let's keep those principles alive. Let's keep the thoughts of everyone that's passed before us, our military, our family, our friends. They can't fight anymore, people. We got to fight for them, so let's fight, until we can't fight no more. And then we'll have our predecessors do what needs to be done. And it's serious, people. The taxes are raising taxes day in and day out. We can't be taxed anymore. They give their friends family jobs, big pensions the rest of their lives. It has to be stopped. And people, we alone can stop it. And we can continue to unite. We have to unite. Democrats, Republicans, men, women, independents, black, white. We have to unite to continue to expose, to drag. And you know the scenario at the end of the day. To make our lives better, we have to destroy those political bastards' lives. Destroy them politically, of course. Right here on the dark side.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha.
The Patriot.
Your First Amendment and All-American Station. A division of Insane Broadcasting. Renegade Radio.
KQQZ, St. Louis.